name is Auni and I want to explain about question 1, which is calculate the liquidity ratio of Apple Inc. Comment on the liquidity position in 2022 as compared to 2021. Analyze and interpret the company's performance. So this is our answer. As you can see, this is formula of current ratio for 2021, which is current asset divided by current liabilities. So 134,836 million divided by 125,481 million. So the answer is 1.07 times. For calculation, we can see the Apple Inc. current ratio is calculated by dividing the current asset of the company by its current liabilities. The current ratio helps investors understand more about company's ability to cover its short-term debt with its current asset to make comparison with its competitors and peers. A strong current ratio greater 1.0 indicated that a company has enough short-term asset on hand to liquidate to cover all short-term liabilities if necessary. The higher the liquidity, the easier it is to the company to pay its creditor on time and vice versa. In its 2022 financial statement, Apple Inc. reported total current asset of 135,404 million, a little increase from the 134,836 million total current asset recorded at the conclusion of the previous financial year, which is 2021. However, from 2021 to 2022, the company's liability structure drastically changed. At the 2022, the company reported 153,982 million of current liabilities, and for 2021, the company reported 125,481 million. According to the calculation above, the current ratio for 2021 was 1.07 times. This means that if all of Apple current liability were to become due immediately, the business could cover all of its obligations. At the end of 2022, the current ratio for Apple Inc. is 0.88 times. This indicated that Apple Inc. cannot be compared to its rivals and competitors since it lacks sufficient current asset to pay down all of its short-term debt.
From the above calculation, we can see that Apple asset test ratio is calculated by dividing the current assets minus inventory and prepaid expenses by its current liabilities. The asset test ratio or quick ratio is calculated to see if it has enough cash to pay its immediate liabilities such as short-term debt. It measures how sufficient a company's short-term assets are to cover its current liability. For most companies, asset test ratio should exceed 1.0. If it's less than 1.0, it indicates that companies do not have enough liquid assets to pay current liabilities. An asset test ratio of 1.02 for Apple for 2021 indicates that the company had $1.02 in highly liquid assets such as cash and short-term investment available to cover each dollar of its short-term liabilities such as current debts and obligations at that point in time. This suggests that Apple had a reasonable level of liquidity to meet its immediate financial obligation. The asset test ratio, also known as the quick ratio, measures a company's ability to cover its short-term liability with its most liquid assets. A higher ratio indicates better short-term liquidity. Comparing the asset test ratio for Apple on 0.85 times and 2021 1.02 times, we can observe a decrease in the ratio over the year. This suggests that in 2022, Apple may have had relatively lower liquid assets compared to its short-term liabilities, indicating potentially reduced short-term liquidity compared to the previous year. A ratio of 0.85 indicates that for every dollar of current liabilities Apple had on 2022, it had $0.85 in highly liquid assets available to cover those liabilities. This suggests that Apple may have had a slightly lower of short-term liquidity, which could potentially impact its ability to quickly pay off its current liabilities and obligations. Moving on to the factors that affect the current performance of Apple. In terms of functionality, Apple knows how to create a product that's really easy to use. Pick up an iPhone or log into an iMac and you can use it without struggling to work out its features. Apple is a company that is known to put ease of use as the main goal when designing a product. And as the technology continues to advance, Apple still managed to create a product that works for absolutely anyone using it. according to Apple's business model, their products are centered on giving their customers the best experience possible. Apple uses the disruptive innovation principle to develop their own products. Apple then keeps its sustained competitive edge by eliminating technological uncertainty through continued innovation. Apple is focusing on improving its product rather than making significant adjustments. However, technology has advanced quickly over the past 50 years, and each year will see improvements in speed, quality, and cost that will make it possible for new market players and technological innovation to enter the market.
The second one is global economic condition. Apple sales and profitability may be affected by the economic climate in important global countries. Apple financial success may be impacted by variables like shift in consumer spending, currency exchange rates, and general economic stability in places like the United States, Europe, and China. Strong economic conditions frequently result in consumers spending more money on Apple products, while weak economic conditions may result in lower sales. For example, its currency exchange rate, which is due to its global operation. Apple may experience revenue impacts when converting sales made in foreign currency into US dollar. Last but not least is regulatory and legal factor. Due to the highly regulated environment in which Apple operates, any change to the law, legal dispute, or antitrust inquiries may have a substantial effect on the company's success. Consumers may still purchase Apple products, and developers will continue to sell their program to the App Store, but regulatory pressure on Apple is increasing. And the most recent report from an antitrust authority may indicate a new danger that may have an impact on the iPhone, Apple crown jewels. For regulatory challenges, Apple is subject to a number of rules on a global scale, and adjustment to government antitrust, intellectual property, and data privacy policy may have an impact on the company's operation. Antitrust investigation is both locally and internationally may lead to legal difficulties and even suggest alteration to Apple operation.
Hi, my name is Nooril Amor, and now I'm going to continue about question 2, which is the factors that affect the effectiveness of the Samsung company journal in managing its asset. So the first factor is technological factors. Since everyone today lives in a global village, the desire for product with cutting-edge technology has a significant impact on many business. This aspect is highly helpful in understanding how a target market expectation change over time. Samsung's electronic must adapt technology for production and offer the newest technology to clients in order to compete in the market and increase its market share. Its advantages for Samsung that people are addicted to technology use because all of Samsung electronics products, including LEDs, mobile phone, washing machine, and memory chips, include technology. Additionally, Samsung's dedication to R&D guarantees ongoing innovation in its product, boosting their competitiveness and promoting better asset turnover. Recognizing the value of protecting this asset in the digital age, the corporation also make investment in cybersecurity to defend its digital asset and intellectual property. The second factor is social factors. These elements are crucial in helping a business comprehend the shifting social trends affecting customer requirements and demands. The cause of the shift in trends may be due to time and place, friends and family, or other factors. Due to the high caliber of its product, Samsung has a positive reputation in society. The requirements and desires of people in any society are increasingly shifting toward the use of cutting-edge technology, which is advantageous for Samsung. Finally, the demand for product is influenced by consumer attitude and preference, which affect asset allocation throughout the company's various business sectors. In conclusion, Samsung's ability to handle these social issues, which have a considerable impact on its long-term success, is totally tied to its asset management.
My name is Nur Alia Maisara binti Zulkifli. Next is ways to improve the performance of the Samsung company for non-current asset turnover ratio. Since the ratio computation shows a rise from 2021 to 2022, we can deduce that Samsung is managing its non-current assets well. In general, we know that Samsung regularly updates its products, which is wonderful. However, Samsung also chooses to stop making certain products which can be bad for their business. The first way to improve the performance of the Samsung company for non-current assets turnover ratio is by improving access to knowledge and information, the availability of tools to support learning, creativity staff solution, and innovation practices that are represented in new products. The Internet Processes Viewpoint establishes the strategic objective of achieving operational excellence based on ongoing efforts to bring cutting-edge products and solutions to the general public. Internet Processes Viewpoints will be driven by employee effectiveness, and all measures will be changed to reflect this perspective. The second way is optimizing asset utilization. Regular maintenance and upgrades of non-current assets, such as manufacturing equipment and facilities, are essential to ensure they remain productive and efficient. Samsung should also consider performing a detailed analysis of asset allocation across all initiatives and divisions. Samsung can dramatically raise its asset turnover ratio by allocating resources to divisions or initiatives with higher revenue generating potential. Top attention should also be given to effective production methods because they can reduce downtime and maximize the use of machines and equipment.
Hi, my name is Ardini Shamimi. Now I will explain for question number 3. I will analyze and interpret the debt and a profitability ratio of 2PM company. For 2022, debt ratio of 32%, which indicates that 32% of its assets are financed by debt. This suggests that the company has a moderated level of leverage. A company can improve its leverage ratio by financing capital investment from an issue of retaining profit. For the debt to equity ratio of 55% indicates that the company has a higher proportion of debt compared to the equity in its capital structure. For the time interest earn ratio of 5.2 times suggests that the company has sufficient earnings to cover its interest expenses. And for the gross profit margin of 76.5 indicates that the company is generating a high percentage of profit from its sales. And the last one is the net profit margin of 25%, suggests that the company is efficient in managing its costs and generating profit. Next, for 2021, the company had a slightly lower debt ratio of 28% as it will reduce the potential losses that may occur in the event of liquidation. And the debt to equity ratio of 53% and time interest earn ratio was 3 times, indicating a lower ability to cover interest expenses compared to 2022. The gross profit margin was 65%, which indicates that a company can make a reasonable profit and sales. And the net profit margin was 24.5%, indicate that potential financial vulnerability to an economic downturn or financial distress if a trend develops. Comparing these ratios to the industry average for both years, we can see that 2PM has a lower debt ratio and debt to equity ratio than the industry average. However, the time interest earn ratio is higher than the industry average in the both years, indicating a better ability to cover interest expenses. The gross profit margin for 2PM is higher than an industry average in both years, indicating better profitability from sales. However, the net profit margin for 2PM is lower than the industry average in both years. Considering these ratios and the industry average, 2PM appears to have a relatively healthy financial position with moderate leverage and strong profitability. However, it is important to consider other factors such as industry trends, competitive landscape and future growth prospect before making an investment decision. As an investor, will I invest in this company? As an investor, I would consider investing in 2PM company based on the analysis of its financial ratios. The company exhibits a moderate level of leverage with relatively low debt ratio and debt to equity ratio compared to the industry average. This suggests that 2PM has a healthy balance between debt and equity financing. Furthermore, 2PM demonstrates a strong ability to cover interest expenses, as indicated by the higher time interest earn ratio in both years. This implies that the company has sufficient earnings to meet its interest obligations, which is a positive sign for investors. Additionally, 2PM's higher gross profit margin compared to the industrial average indicate better profitability from sales. This suggests that the company is effectively managing its costs and generating higher profit, which is attractive to investors.